There's an ancient saying that when we're young, we strive to please everyone around us. However, as we age, we come to understand that wise individuals often take a different approach. In today's video, we'll delve into 9 behaviors that intelligent men should avoid in their relationships with women. Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's most revered emperors, once remarked that a man's biggest missteps aren't the mistakes he makes but the actions he takes when he shouldn't. Interestingly, the more intelligent a person is, the more prone they are to falling into these traps. In this brief video, I'll highlight key lessons from Stoic philosophy, priceless wisdom that I, along with countless other men, have come to understand through personal experience. Chances are, as you watch, you'll recognize yourself in some of the scenarios we're about to explore. Before we get started, feel free to share in the comments if you've ever found yourself making one of these mistakes. Your story might just help others steer clear of the same pitfalls. Number 1. Keep your past private. The first principle we need to address is safeguarding your past. As Nietzsche once said, old thoughts return to haunt us like ghosts of past decisions, and this couldn't be more relevant than in relationships. Here's a critical truth: intelligent men often fall into this trap, believing that revealing their past struggles demonstrates emotional maturity. They open up about their darkest moments, failures, and vulnerabilities, thinking it will strengthen the bond with their partner. But what they overlook is this: once you disclose something, there's no undoing it. I've witnessed many men open up about their deepest insecurities, past relationship wounds, or personal hardships, only to see these vulnerabilities turned against them later. The Stoics remind us that not every thought needs to be voiced, and not every truth needs to be revealed. Consider your past as a precious treasure, not something to be displayed to anyone who shows curiosity, but something to be shared only with those who have genuinely earned your trust over time. The reality is harsh but undeniable: what you reveal in a moment of closeness can later be weaponized in a moment of conflict. So, what's the solution? Be intentional about what you share from your past. Reveal it slowly, thoughtfully, and only if it serves a meaningful purpose in your current relationship. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In this context, the best defense is to avoid surrendering your power by sharing too much too soon. Never forget that mystery isn't just alluring, it's also a form of self-preservation. Guard your past, not to hide it, but to protect what's valuable. Your story is uniquely yours, and it should only be shared with those who have truly earned the privilege of hearing it. Number 2, face your fear of being alone. Let's address something many men hesitate to admit: the fear of being alone. Aristotle once said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." Yet, here's a tough reality: countless men remain in unhealthy relationships simply because they're terrified of facing solitude. Consider this: how often have you seen someone, a friend, or maybe even yourself, cling to the wrong partner just because the idea of being alone felt more unbearable? It's like choosing to stay in a burning building because the thought of stepping out into the cold feels even scarier. The Stoics remind us that our fear of emptiness often causes more harm than the emptiness itself. I've known accomplished men, CEOs, leaders, individuals who could confidently steer entire organizations, yet struggled with the simple challenge of spending a Friday night alone. They would tolerate drama, disrespect, or even emotional abuse just to avoid confronting their fear of solitude. What they fail to see is this: fearing solitude means surrendering your power to anyone who offers companionship. The Stoics grasped a vital truth: if a man cannot be content on his own, he'll never truly know whether he's with someone out of love or out of fear. When loneliness drives your actions, it clouds your judgment, making it impossible to make clear, rational choices about your relationships. So, what's the solution? Begin with small, deliberate steps. Learn to appreciate your own company and discover the peace that comes with solitude. Here's the paradox: when you're truly comfortable being alone, you start to attract people who enrich your life, not those who simply fill an empty space. Keep in mind, being alone isn't the same as being lonely. It's about having the strength to hold out for what you truly deserve, rather than settling for what you fear losing. Number 3, manage your time wisely. Let's address something that might resonate deeply: wasting your most irreplaceable asset, time. Seneca, the famed Stoic philosopher, once said, "Life is not short, but we often squander much of it." This is particularly true when it comes to relationships. Consider how many hours you've lost obsessing over unanswered texts, waiting for calls that never came, or trying to decode someone's mixed signals. Think about the countless weekends spent chasing approval from someone who wasn't even fully invested in you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Time is like a river, once it flows by, it's lost forever." Unfortunately, too many men spend their prime years pursuing people who view them as a second choice. They delay their dreams, miss out on time with friends, and skip workouts, all for someone who wouldn't make those same efforts for them in return. The hard reality is this: while you're prioritizing someone else, they may only see you as an option. The Stoics grasped a fundamental truth about time: it's the one resource that can never be replenished. You can earn more money, forge new relationships, and pursue fresh opportunities, but time, once it's spent, it's lost for good. So, what's the solution? Begin valuing your time as the priceless asset it truly is. Before you dedicate hours, days, or months to someone, ask yourself, are they putting in the same effort? Are you nurturing a meaningful connection, or simply trying to fill an emotional void? Keep this in mind: a wise man doesn't just manage his finances carefully, he values his time even more. Because ultimately, when you waste time on the wrong person, you're not just giving away moments, you're giving away pieces of your life. Number 4, be proud of your achievements. Here's a paradox many accomplished men encounter: the more they succeed, the more they shy away from acknowledging their achievements in relationships. Epictetus once said, "If you wish to improve, accept being seen as foolish and ignorant." However, there's an important distinction between being humble and downplaying your brilliance. I've watched successful men diminish their accomplishments, conceal their ambitions, and even portray themselves as less capable, all out of fear of being seen as arrogant or intimidating. They achieve incredible feats, build thriving businesses, and earn prestigious awards, yet in their relationships, they act as if none of it is significant. Why? Because at some point, they were taught that being too successful could drive people away. Hear this clearly: if your success unsettles someone, that's not your burden to bear. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that." Never diminish your brilliance to make others comfortable. Don't let your light fade just because it might overwhelm those who are accustomed to the shadows. So, what's the solution? Embrace your journey and take pride in your victories, not to boast, but to uplift and inspire. A confident woman doesn't seek a man who conceals his success, she values someone who motivates her to pursue her own aspirations. Your accomplishments aren't just bullet points on a resume, they're meaningful chapters in the story of your life. Anyone who wants to share in that life should be willing to embrace the entire narrative, not just the simpler or more convenient parts. Number 5, protect your mental health. Let's address a topic men often avoid: safeguarding your mental peace in relationships. The Stoics taught us a timeless truth: your mind is your fortress. Yet, far too many men allow that fortress to weaken, sacrificing their mental well-being just to maintain someone else's happiness. Isn't it fascinating? We'll hit the gym to safeguard our physical health and hustle tirelessly to secure our financial stability, yet when it comes to our mental health, we allow someone else's chaos to unravel it. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Protecting your mental peace is just as vital as any other form of self-care. I've witnessed brilliant men transform into anxious shadows of themselves, obsessively checking their phones, dissecting every word of a conversation, and losing sleep over someone else's emotional ups and downs. They convince themselves this is normal, that it's just how relationships are supposed to be. But here's the reality: if your relationship is consistently robbing you of your peace, it's not love, it's emotional warfare. So, what's the solution? Set clear boundaries. Learn to say no. Distance yourself from unnecessary drama. Most importantly, recognize that someone who genuinely cares about you will never force you to choose between their happiness and your mental well-being. Protecting your mental health isn't selfish, it's essential. After all, you can't give your best to others when you're running on empty, and you can't create a thriving relationship if your own mind is in turmoil. Number 6, stay true to yourself. Let's dive into something vital, the importance of staying true to yourself in relationships. Albert Camus once said, "The moment you start changing who you are to please someone else is the moment you start losing yourself." Reflect on how often you've said yes when you wanted to say no. How many times have you feigned interest in something you disliked, agreed with views you didn't share, or altered your behavior just to appease someone else? The Stoics remind us of a harsh truth: when we abandon our true selves, we suffer twice, once from the struggle to change and again from the inevitable failure to sustain it. I've seen men with strong principles and clear values completely abandon who they are, altering their dreams, distancing themselves from loved ones, and reshaping their identity to match someone else's expectations. They become actors, playing a part they believe their partner wants to see. Here's the harsh reality: the moment you trade authenticity for performance, you've already lost. And the irony? Trying to be what someone else wants doesn't make you more appealing, it makes you less. True power lies in authenticity, a quality no amount of acting can ever replicate. So, what's the solution? Start saying no when you need to. Share your genuine thoughts. Hold fast to your values. Yes, not everyone will appreciate it, and some might even leave. But ask yourself, wouldn't you rather be alone for staying true to who you are than be accepted for pretending to be someone you're not? Always remember, the right person won't ask you to change your essence. Instead, they'll inspire and challenge you to grow into the best version of yourself, not someone entirely different. Number 7, don't sacrifice your goals for others. Let's discuss a trap that destroys the potential of too many good men, giving up their dreams and ambitions for the sake of a relationship. Seneca captured this perfectly: no person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to waste their time chasing what they can't have. I've seen men put their careers on pause, forego promising opportunities, and abandon their passions, all to align with someone else's vision of the future. They convince themselves that it's compromise, that it's the price of love. But is it really love, or is it self-sacrifice in disguise? Here's the harsh reality: when you abandon your own path to follow someone else's, you're not just letting go of your goals, you're giving up a part of who you are. The real tragedy comes years later, when these men find themselves filled with regret and resentment, questioning where their dreams went. They glance in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. Marcus Aurelius offered a timeless reminder: look well into yourself, there is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look. Staying true to your path isn't just about achieving your goals, it's about preserving your very essence. So, what's the solution? Keep chasing your dreams. Pursue your goals with unwavering determination. If your partner wants to walk alongside you, include them in your journey, but never sacrifice your path to follow theirs. A true partnership elevates both individuals, it doesn't demand one to abandon their own aspirations. The right person will support and celebrate your ambitions, not see them as competition. They'll take pride in your goals, not feel threatened by them. Real love doesn't take away from your dreams, it amplifies them and enriches your life. Number 8, prioritize family and friends. Let's address a critical error that even the smartest men often make: sacrificing their core relationships for the sake of a romantic partner. Plato captured this insight perfectly: the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. To be conquered by yourself is of all things most shameful and vile. This truth is painfully evident when men isolate themselves from their support system to focus entirely on a relationship. I've seen it happen time and time again: men slowly pulling away from their friends, skipping family gatherings, and letting go of cherished traditions, all in an effort to keep their partner happy. They tell themselves they're building a stronger relationship, but in reality, they're severing ties with the very people who could support them when they need it most. As the Stoics wisely taught, no man is an island, but every man needs his tribe. The tragedy lies in the aftermath. By the time these men recognize their mistake, it's often too late. Friends have moved on, family bonds have weakened, and if the relationship ends, they find themselves truly alone. The support system they needed the most was the one they chose to abandon. So, what's the solution? Hold on to your friendships. Stay connected to your family. Make space in your life for the people who stood by you before this relationship and who will still stand by you if it ends. A partner who tries to pull you away from your support system isn't safeguarding your relationship, they're exerting control over your life. Always remember, your close relationships are like a safety net. When things are smooth, you might not notice their importance, but when life gets tough, they become irreplaceable. Don't wait until you're in free fall to realize you've dismantled your own safety net. Number 9. Avoid excessive dependency. Let's wrap up with one of the most vital principles, avoiding the pitfall of excessive dependency. Marcus Aurelius offered timeless wisdom: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Picture this: intelligent, accomplished men turning into shadows of themselves, entirely reliant on a woman's approval, attention, or presence. They obsessively check their phones, rearrange their lives around her availability, and spiral into anxiety if she doesn't respond right away. Their emotional stability hinges on her messages, and their happiness rises and falls with her mood. The Stoics wisely said, when you place your peace in someone else's hands, you become a slave to their actions. Here's the paradox: the more you depend on someone, the less appealing you become. It's a vicious cycle. Your fear of losing them drives behaviors that end up pushing them away. No one wants the weight of being someone's entire world. It's too much pressure and responsibility. The hard truth is this: when you make someone your everything, you risk becoming insignificant to them. You stop being the confident, grounded person they were drawn to and transform into someone constantly seeking their approval and reassurance. So, what's the solution? Create a life so rich and fulfilling that a relationship becomes a bonus, not a necessity. Pursue your own passions. Protect your personal space. Understand that real strength is rooted in your sense of self, not in seeking validation from others. Marcus Aurelius wisely reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. It doesn't rely on someone else's presence, approval, or affection. It's built on your inner resilience and stability. True fulfillment comes from within. As we conclude our exploration of these 9 vital principles drawn from Stoic philosophy, it's essential to recognize that these aren't merely relationship tips, they're foundational guidelines for preserving your dignity, strength, and authenticity as a man. From guarding your past to maintaining your independence, each principle is rooted in timeless wisdom that remains profoundly relevant today. Marcus Aurelius said it best: very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. True fulfillment begins and ends with your mindset and choices. These principles aren't about exerting control or manipulation in relationships, they're about cultivating inner strength and a solid foundation so that any relationship you enter complements your life rather than becomes its centerpiece. The Stoics grasped a timeless truth: true power in relationships isn't found in our actions, but in the boundaries we set and the behaviors we choose to reject. If this message struck a chord with you, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with other men who could benefit from hearing it. Drop a comment below to share which principle resonated with you the most. Your story could be exactly what someone else needs to find clarity or inspiration right now. Remember, living by these principles doesn't make you cold or detached, it makes you wise. The strongest relationships aren't founded on sacrifice or dependency, but on mutual respect and the strength of two individuals who stand firm in their authenticity. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and above all, stay true to yourself.